Hey guys, welcome back to the latest episode of the Growing a Dental Practice podcast. I am your host, Mike Hennon from Patient Boost. In today's episode, I'm joined by Dr Hussein Shaffie, Principal Dentist of Bexleyheath Dental Practice and the Sandford Implant and Cosmetic Centre. Hussein also has a YouTube channel called The Hungry Dentist, which we'll learn more about later. So welcome to the show, Hussein. Thanks for joining me. How are you today?
Thank you very much. I'm great. Thank you. And it's kind of an honor to be in your podcast and hope it goes well.
Yeah, perfect. Honestly, I've been looking forward to getting you on this for a little while. We have obviously a mutual connection through Claire Frisbee, and she was like, as soon as she knew, well, she's been on here a few times, and as soon as she knew I was after principal dentists, she was like, I know just the man. But no, so I'm looking forward to this. A lot of value. And we've mentioned that you've got sort of already got two practices, so we'll dig a bit deeper into like what crazy idea you had about going for two, not just one, and then we can go even further and talk about your next project. So I'm going to kick things off with just tell me a bit about yourself, Hussein. What's your background?
I was born in Iran, and in 1980s I moved to Sweden to study dentistry. And after finishing my dental school, I moved to UK. I think it was 1990, moved to UK, and I started working in a dental practice South London's called Darford. And I was working for a little while with the principal and two brothers. They had, I think, 12 or 13 dental surgery that time. Uh, During my childhood in Iran, it was really funny because my dad had a very big chicken farm, and I used to work for him actually, and then he used to pay me. And the funniest thing is, every summer when the school holiday started, he used to buy a little uh, baby goat and asking me, "This is yours," and grow it up, and then obviously you share the money. And I was so excited, obviously, while I was working with him and helping him, I feeding the little baby goat or so, and then growing up, and then he used to sell it and obviously share the money. And then, to be honest with you, I learned the business from age 9.
I love that.
So
So your first foray into business was a partnership, sort of rearing and selling goats.
absolutely, absolutely. Honestly, I think it helped me what I am, and being quite successful in business. And whatever kind of I do, it's is become quite successful. I think it's because of my background.
Yeah, so that's definitely like a work. You instilled like a good work ethic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So was there any chance of you joining the chicken farm business?
No,
No.
it was quite hard, and I think it's, all my, as I remember, all my childhood was every moment I was away from school. So I used to help him, and also he had a few shops as well. I used to work in those shops, and as far as I remember, I didn't have much of playing games with the friends or so, and I was working and working with him. So. No, I wouldn't go back.
No. Okay, so no, yeah, so it was always going to be dentistry. Love that. So what got you into dentistry then? So what was the driving force behind that?
I think, to be honest with you, as a child, I used to remember every week my dad used to take me to dentist because I suffered from toothache, abscesses, and everything. Because obviously that time in Iran we didn't look after our teeth. So I think from the childhood I decided to do something medicine or dentistry. And then when I moved to Sweden, I knew what I need to do and start studying dentistry, focused, and I became a dentist. But obviously, in Sweden in 1980s or so, it was difficult to find a job, and even there was a job, you had to travel hours to get to work and come back. So, and it wasn't kind of good for me, especially I had a family as well. So we decided to move to England. And as I mentioned earlier, I worked only 3 months with that principal dentist. And I been thinking that anytime I need to open my own practice, which I come to that how I open and I start my business here.
Yeah, I love that. Before we dive into that, so within 3 months of being in the UK, you were like, I need to open a practice.
That's correct.
Amazing. So it wasn't even you were like, I need to do it myself. This is the way to go.
Yes, because obviously it was very hard for me to work for somebody else and telling me what you need to do. And I could probably work longer, but the way they work, the way they help dentists and associates wasn't fair. And we didn't get the materials, we didn't get the instruments, and we had to wait days and days to get, for instance, a little bear to do a crown prep or anything. And then I said, you know what, this is not my future. And after basically 3 months, I asked him that, can I buy one of your own surgery? And luckily enough, he used to do a general anesthetic in all his practices, especially in one specific dental practice. And he asked me to go and work there. And was that time that general anesthetic was kind of forbidden in dentistry. So he kind of liked my idea to sell the practice to me. And then he said, okay, let's go for a beer that evening. By the way, I paid for the beer. They didn't pay for my beer. Yes, that evening we had a beer, and then they told me, do you have any money? I said, no. And says, how do you want to buy practice? I said, I'm borrowing from you. I said, you very brave after 3 months in UK, and then you want to buy your own surgeries. It's yeah, I want to buy it, and I want to show you how I'm going to run this surgery. Because he used to have 4 or 5 associates. The associate didn't turn up to work. Very, very difficult. He didn't make any kind of money. Patients were unhappy. No customer service, nothing. And I said, I have 2 suggestions. Either sell your practice, or I work full time. I don't need any other associates, and I show you how much customer service is going to go up, and how much obviously profitable this dental practice is going to be. And then he said, okay, give me a couple of months and start working. And then he obviously gave notice to the dentist, and I'm working for him for another couple of months. And then my income was, to be honest with you, on my own, more than 4 part-time dentists. And the customer service was amazing. We got new patients, we got so many comments. And then I said, okay, listen, I want to buy you out. And he asked me the same question, do you have money? I said, no, but you can lend me money with any interest you want. And I said, okay, let's have a chat. And then they gave me a loan of 15% interest rate. And I said, okay, no problem. And luckily, after I think it was 6 to 7 months, I paid him off, and I own my own practice. This is how I started.
Amazing. So there's so much to unpack in that. So was that your first 3 months of working for this principal, was that your first 3 months as an associate?
That's correct, yes.
So you came straight out of dental school, you moved to another country, you worked for a guy for 3 months, and then within another sort of 3 months, you owned a practice.
That's correct.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good. And it's not even, I just love the balls of you going to him saying, right, you're going to sell this practice to me. I can do a better job than your current associates, but I'm also not going to give you the money up front. I'm going to pay you over time. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I told them they didn't have anything to lose. I said, you don't need to transfer the practice to me till I pay you off. And then I said, okay, agree. And obviously, they on the top of that 15%, they wanted some more money that I don't need to go there. And I had no choice. And I said, okay, because I believe in myself that I can make that money. And I did after 6 or 7 months. And I paid them off the loan and everything else. And I had my own surgery. And I changed the staff, my nurses, and my receptionist, and did a complete refurbishment in that dental practice as well. And honestly, after 1 year, it's become one of the best dental practice in the whole area. And from, I do believe, that time we had 1,500 patients, and suddenly within a year and a half, we got to 12,000 patients on our list.
That is incredible.
I think this
That is
comes,
so cool.
yeah, absolutely. It comes if you believe in yourself and be ready to take a risk. Obviously, any risk, any success, it comes with, unfortunately, with other things. You're losing other things, you're gaining other things. Yes, I became quite successful practice owner, and I was really proud. And whoever even heard that within 3 or 4 months I own my own practice, they were shocked. And I wasn't worried. I tell you another story. After 4 months, I went to the bank, nearest bank to my dental practice, and I said that I wanted to speak to the manager, and said, okay, what's the regard? I said, the mortgage. And I went to him and he said, listen, I want to buy a house. I found a house and this is the price. I would like a kind of a mortgage. And he said, okay, we need 2 years bank account and obviously all these. And I said, what? I've been here only 4 months. And then he said, I'm sorry, you're not going to get any mortgage. Come back in kind of in 2 years time. Anyway, I went to another bank 4 months later and got my mortgage as well. So I bought my
Perfect.
first house.
So where there's a will, you will find the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. So you mentioned, so obviously, you kind of touched on like the reason behind buying the practice, and you mentioned that you were quite happy to take the risk. What did your family think when you turned around to them and said, "I'm going to buy a practice," and I've only, within such a quick time frame?
I think that time my ex-wife wasn't that impressed, and obviously she knew I'm too busy for that, because obviously as a young person, having your own practice after a few months only in a new country, new language, and everything else, it needs hard work. I used to work 7 days a week. I used to have emergency. They ringing me, and I used to drive 20 minutes driving there to see one patient and closing the surgery on Sunday evening or so. And I used to have home visits with elderly, and all these. To become successful, unfortunately, you need to work hard. I don't have any other kind of suggestion that you can sit and everything is going to come to you. No, I had to work hard. But unfortunately, yes, I became quite successful dentist and practice owner, but in a private life, because I didn't spend much time, quality time with my family, unfortunately, I lost it. So one way you gain, one way you lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you got prepared to make those sacrifices,
Absolutely.
and obviously deal with what comes with your vision and what you want. No, that's cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's really really insightful. And yeah, it's things like that people don't really see. People don't share that kind of thing. You just see the success. I think we talked about it before in our previous chat. Like, you only see the Instagram filter, like the wins and the holidays and the cars and that kind of thing. You don't see the sacrifice and the loss on the other side.
You are absolutely right, because obviously when you are young, you're ambitious, you want more and more and more. You don't realize it, that's what sacrifice you need to make and what you lose. I mean, I mentioned it in our discussion that with 2 of our friends, we had another 4 surgery, because they suggested let's open a few more surgeries. And I said, okay, no problem at all. And we were doing very well till one of my one of friends' husbands got involved, and the other partners, business partners' wife got involved as well. We were doing very good for nearly a year. Suddenly they came, involved themselves. One wanted to become practice manager, and the other business partner's wife said, no, I need to be involved with the accounts and everything. And the partnership fall apart, because obviously it wasn't me and my business partners, it was the whole family as well involving. And there was trust issue. And as I mentioned before, unfortunately, we Iranian, we used to have a handshake kind of, okay, let's just do this business, and we're going to trust each other. So there was no paperwork, there was no solicitor involved. So, and unfortunately, we lost friendship and business as well. So that didn't work. I'm not saying that it's not a good idea to become partner with somebody, but it has to be properly designed, properly done. Otherwise, it become, unfortunately, that business will not go well.
So you sort of learned the hard way that a handshake doesn't always solidify a partnership. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. And also that sounds like a case of too many cooks.
You're absolutely right. It's a lot. I mean, when I see my some of my associates and they want to open their own surgery, or they asking me for my opinion, my advice, and I said, just you need to have a balance in your life. Even you don't realize it, even though you get the bless of your wife or your partner, and says, okay, let's do it together or so. But if you spend too much time at work, you're going to lose one day, because you're not going to have time, quality time with your family, with your wife, with your children. So unfortunately, I had that time when I opened my surgery. I had a little kind of 2 years old daughter. Yes, I didn't spend a huge amount of time. After obviously 4 or 5 years, I realized I'm doing kind of wrong. So much time in the surgery. I brought more associates and got some more time off and spent time more with my, obviously, family and daughter. So, and it's funny because I used to take my daughter when I used to go to home visits, or bring her to the dental surgery to see the reality, how hard I work. So, and I think I did well, because now she is very successful orthodontist, and working with me, and also her husband is also a dentist, a very good dentist as well. So I think I did quite well. Yes.
Yeah. I love that. So she followed you into the dental business. So it's definitely dentistry is definitely a family affair.
Yes. Funny enough, my brother is a dentist as well. His wife is a dentist. So it's a lot of kind of. It's funny because, as you know, my wife is a dentist as well. So when it comes to a party or so, it's just about dentistry.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, do you have to try and ban teeth talk? Like, do you have to right, let's not talk about dentistry. We're sick of teeth today.
Yes, my second daughter, older daughter, she's a lawyer, and then every time we get together, he says, "Listen, if it's about dentistry, I'm not going to come. If you stop talking about dentistry, then okay, I come." And say, "Okay, no."
Oh, I love that. She's just sitting there saying, "Guys, please stop talking about teeth."
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's a really great insight there. It's just like, you worked really hard to get, for your first practice and your first success, but you did realize that actually that takes a toll on, it takes a toll on your private life. It takes a toll on you as an individual. And actually you're now, as much as hard work is the way forward, like you're telling everyone, like your associates and other people to, try and find that balance. Like it's, it's not necessarily, I guess you've got a limited time on earth. Yes, work's important. That's brilliant. I love that. Absolutely fantastic. So that's I kind of want to ask you, so you bought your first practice. You just mentioned that you had a partnership at some point. When did that happen? Like in your timeline? So how soon after your first practice?
I think after around a year, I opened my
Okay.
the surgery. We bought another three surgeries with the partners, which it didn't work. We were working together around 8 months or so, and then we sold them, and then they took over the dental practice. We lost quite a bit. Then obviously the dental practice that I was working, it wasn't good area, very rough area, and quite often we were threatened by, unfortunately, people over there, and stealing, robberies and everything else. So I decided this is not mine. And then one of the associates who was working there with me, and then she wanted to buy it, and then she bought it, and I opened another one, which is the existing one. And that time was 1 month surgery, and at the moment is 12 month surgery, you can say, because I'll build it up. I work there, work full time over there, but not anymore home visits, no emergencies or so, and less working there. And then brought some associates, and at the moment working as a mixed practice, and has got 12 rooms with 12 associate specialists. So yeah,
You went from 1 chair to 12 chairs.
that's correct. Yes.
Amazing. In what sort of time frame?
I think it took nearly 6 years. That gradually I built another one or so. And it's funny because every couple years I plan something, and then we are kind of out of spaces, out of rooms. And it's very difficult and very strange concepts. Whoever I speak to, they says, how can you manage it? The dental practice I bought had a massive garden and massive parking space. So I built a corridor from that mixed practice and to a new surgery practice. And through this corridor, when you go through the corridor, you see the difference from a mixed practice, suddenly a high quality private clinic. Yes. So from that moment you entering to that corridor, you see the difference.
Oh, wow.
And we call that one Sandford. We're doing everything: orthodontic, perio, endo, implants, and cosmetic. And we do facial, we do intravenous vitamins and plasma injection, all type, because we have anesthetists on board. We have all kind of specialists that you can think of under one roof, basically. So yes, that one is a completely private, and that one is a mixed practice. We are at the moment 22 dentists and specialists, and 4 hygienists.
Wow. So it started off as 1. You built it up to say what 4 in the mixed.
Yes, gradually we build it to kind of 12 rooms.
Yeah, but I just love that separate. It's almost like you've got a 2-in-1.
Yes, that's
so you've
correct.
it's one practice, but it's a mixed practice and a private practice combined.
That's correct. Yes.
Hussein, I need to come visit you, because the idea of walking through what's clearly a mixed practice into like a separate practice, but it's the same practice. It's just like blowing my mind right now.
Yeah. Everybody says how we manage it, such a kind of concept. It works for me. It works for everybody. And we treat everybody the same, even though, for example, when it comes to salary, this and that, there is no difference between that mixed practice and private. Do you know what? When I was working for the principal dentist, even though it was 3 months, I believe I was treated quite unfairly. I didn't get any salary, and he gave my salary back when he sold the practice. So for 3 months, I didn't get a penny from him, because he could do whatever he wanted that time. I decided, you know what, if I open my own practice, I will treat my associates and staff fairly. that way they will stay with me. That way they will give a good customer service, and everybody would be happy. And this is what we're doing now. If you look at our, for example, Google reviews or so, we are quite known in that area, that we are have good reputation. Patients are happy with us because we treat them fairly. We are honest
Yeah.
with them. We tell them what they need, what they don't need. It's not, and most of our dentists, they stay quite a long time. It's not that one associate coming and then stay a couple of months and go somewhere else. So we create an environment that they are happy, quite happy, and that they stay, they want to stay. And but you know that obviously after COVID, unfortunately, with the staff issue and then many other things, that everybody wants to work from home, so has changed the environment. Even though we're trying our best, we haven't, to be honest, we succeeded to get the service to the before the COVID, because most of our loyal staff, reception staff, that they were doing great job. They got opportunity to work from home. They left us, and we can't compete. Unfortunately, we can't give them a job working from home. And a few of them, they left. Our TCOs, a couple of them, they left because they got work other places, not as a TCO, but other. For instance, one of them has become a state agent, for example, working from home. So even though I can compete with the salary, but I can't compete that I can give them a job to work from home. And yes, we're trying our best to have the customer service still, but unfortunately, in my opinion, is not the same as before the COVID, and it affected all of us. And
Yes.
I have to mention something, that during the COVID, we were only closed for 2 months. Even those 2 months, we helping the NHS with 111, and then we were doing telephone, obviously consultation with people, give them prescription or so. And then after 2 months, we completely, the mixed practice was opened. We did UDC, urgent dental center or so, and helping obviously NHS and 111. We got the endo contract as well. So yes, we did our part, to be honest with you. Even though lots of other dental surgery weren't open, we were open fully. And I have to say, I am really proud of my work colleague that helped me to help people and help NHS. I'm really, really proud of it.
That is fantastic, Hussein. You should be proud. Because I hadn't even thought that some practices would need to be open for, like, extreme cases or emergencies. So it's great to hear that you were open. And did it help the practice not survive, but did it help being open and taking those people on?
Financially, obviously no, but helping, and so many comments, good comments we got from people, that obviously we could see patients face to face. We had 9 dentists involved in this UDC, and we had from around 8 to 9 o'clock, from morning till 10 o'clock evening, every single day, even Sundays, bank holidays or so. And how they did, I don't know, but I convinced them we need to do it, and we did it. And it was quite success, to be honest with you. We got lots of patients, we got more reputation, we got awards from the council, that we've been open, we've been helping the community or so. Yes, it was financially maybe not, but other way, long term, my belief is that yes, even financially would be successful.
Yeah, so maybe in the short term it might have taken like a financial hit, but like that the goodwill is mentioned in dentistry. When you sell the practice, but you've created goodwill with the community. They won't forget that. You were there for them in that time of need. So it will sort of longer down the line it should pay off,
Yes.
or come back to you. Yeah, I love that. Brilliant. So just been talking about the Sandford. Where does Bexleyheath dental practice fit into it? Was it before or after?
Bexleyheath dental practice was obviously the first, and then the
Yeah.
Sandford came second.
Came after.
Yes, as I mentioned before. By the way, I'm not working as hard as before. I'm working 2, sometimes 3 days a week because I do big cases of implant, full mouth restoration or so, and we have other dentists doing implant as well. So I'm not working as hard, but one of my neighboring dentist, which is probably 100 yards from us, for a few years wanted to sell her practice because financially and she couldn't manage it. Staffing was absolutely nightmare for her, especially after the COVID. She could not. She said, "It's taking whole my life. I have no private life, and I won't sell it." So he said, "Okay, why not?" And we bought it. At the moment, is under refurbishment. We making that 2-man surgery to 9 dental, obviously 9 surgeries with a laboratory in the garden. And my plan is to move the mixed practice, which is Bexleyheath dental practice, to the other one and extend the Sandford to the front part, which is the Bexleyheath dental practice. We obviously after doing a proper refurbishment again. So basically, Sandford become 14 rooms, and Bexleyheath dental practice become 9 rooms. This is my, I would say, last business plan, I have to say.
Okay. You don't do things small, do you?
No, you sound like my wife. When you gonna stop?
Most people are like, happy with maybe 2 to 4, and you're like, no, I'm gonna have a 9 chair practice and a 14-chair practice. They're gonna be on the same street. So the Sandford, will that become fully private?
Absolutely, it's always been fully private. Yeah.
Perfect. So that's fully private. Bexley will be sort of mixed. Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
So when do you reckon? So right. So my question now is, are you mad?
Yes, some people they say I'm mad, but I have to say I love dentistry. I think 2 things I would do it again: dentistry and cooking. If dentistry wouldn't go well, I would do, to be honest with you, my own cooking, or I'm not sure, opening restaurant or kind of things, because I love both of them. Dentistry makes me kind of relax. It's not only that, the satisfaction you get when you do a case and a patient's kind of tears in her eyes and says, "You changed my life." And I've seen so many cases we have done, and we changed their lives, and also we saving lives as well, because we see almost every day we find a case, we referring to a hospital, and they find out unfortunately that it's been cancer, and then they save lives, because it's amazing, because so many dentists and specialists on board. Every day, every week, you get a case that we can do, and I have to say, I enjoy it. I love it. And I don't know what I need to do if I kind of get retired. But luckily, I'm cooking, and then also when I'm cooking, I'm relaxed as well. So
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, excellent. Well, we'll cover the cooking in a bit, but I just have to. So the question I have now is, what have you learned from owning a single practice to owning multiple practices? Like, what's the difference? What was the biggest challenge, like going from one practice to multiple practices? What was it from your side?
as you know, obviously after COVID is the huge compromise, a huge challenge, because the staffing is absolutely difficult. I would say one of my practice manager does only HR these days. It doesn't. She doesn't have any time to do interviewing and pay, and then nurse coming in agreed with a kind of salary, and then a month later somebody else, another surgery, kind of offering them I don't know, a little bit more, and they decide to go. It's not kind of the loyalty that we used to have before the COVID. And even though you gave them a little bit less, maybe compared with another dental surgery, that person coming back to me said, "Do you know what? Can I have a little bit more visits? Okay, if it's possible, yeah, why not?" And they stayed with us. They were loyal. They worked hard. But these days is something else. Do you know what I mean? And if it was this situation, I would not, to be honest with you, from one surgery I would go to two, because it's absolutely nightmare. It's difficult. How other dentists, they opening 10, 15, 20, I don't understand. They are, as I said, they are young, the way that I was many years ago. And unfortunately, with the success comes some other things that, you know, and I know. Yes, if you're asking me, can I advise to have from one surgery to more? I would say no, because financially you don't earn much money, because you have more stuff, you have more expenses, and lots of hassle. Sometimes I'm thinking my first surgery, to be honest with you, compare with so many rooms we have, it wasn't kind of, if it was like three room kind of dental practice that time, yes, now is say is going to be 20 odd. If the earning is going to be 10 times more, absolutely not. Maybe it's going to be twice. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously so much involved. As I said, the staffing and everything else.
So as you increase the number of surgeries, as you increase the number of practice, like the number of locations, you know, you're not increasing, you know, your profit, sort of, what's the word? In you're not. I'm just mumbling now.
Yeah.
You're not. It's not proportionate. So you're not.
No.
If you double. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Because at that time, my first practice, I had one receptionist. She was working as a practice manager as well. And I had two nurses. That's it. And sharing between three dentists that time. Yes. Now I have 6 receptionists in Sandford and 5 receptionists in Bexleyheath, 11 receptionists. We have 3 TCOs. And imagine, we have nearly 4 practice manager and associate practice manager. So imagine the comparable with the time that we used to work.
That sounds like a headache.
Absolutely. We are at the moment nearly 80 people. So
yeah. So right. So if you as you increase in size, your profit doesn't go up as much, but I guess the stress levels do.
Absolutely. You are 100% right, especially after the COVID, unfortunately.
Yeah. But you're still doing a fantastic job. Is there anything you would change?
Because, to be honest with you, because I love it and it's my passion.
Yeah.
So I think if you don't like the job you do, it's not going to be successful. Whatever you do, in my opinion, you need to put your heart in. If your heart is not there, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah, no, love that. Perfect. Right, now I want to talk to you about your YouTube channel. So I mentioned it at the start. You just mentioned that the 2 constants in your life are dentistry and cooking. Tell me about the Hungry Dentist. What was the idea behind it, and what are you doing?
Not a proper idea. One day we were sitting with my daughters, and they said, "You love cooking. Why not opening your own channel?" I says, "What do you mean? Just open." And then we found the name Hungry Dentist, and they promised me to help me with the recording, so which they never did. And and I do, because when I'm cooking, because cooking is important. Doing your own ingredients, buying fresh ingredients. And yes, we like to go to restaurants sometimes as well, but you don't get the quality of the food that you're doing indoors. You don't know what they use, what kind of oil they use, what kind of the butter they use, sauce, and everything else. But when you're doing home, you do the best way and the healthiest way you can. And so I did a YouTube channel and hope some other people they can enjoy it as well. Yeah, it came from nowhere.
Yeah. Is it so when did you start doing it?
I was it over a year, 2 years ago.
So it's like a lockdown project.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So what do I do in my spare time? I can't go out, so I'm going to cook and I'm going to share my cooking. Oh, I bet you had a great time because you had to cook you had to cook every day, didn't you? Every meal. You couldn't just go out for dinner anymore.
Yes, because obviously my daughter says that they want more my cooking rather than obviously and my wife does very very healthy because she's more towards vegetarian and vegan or so. But obviously when it comes to vegan and vegetarian, sometimes the taste is not there as a normal cooking. But I have to say my daughters prefer my cooking, which makes me more happier. Yes.
I mean, it makes you happy, and I guess probably annoys your wife a little bit.
Absolutely, yes.
Or she probably quite enjoys it when you cook. No, that's brilliant. That's awesome. So I'll include a link to your channel in the show notes and let people find that out. But that's awesome. So I'm going to ask you kind of a couple more questions. So the question that I ask every guest is, you having been there, done that, you're still getting the t-shirt, so you're still learning and expanding. But what would your advice be to anyone, like any associate thinking about buying or starting a dental practice? Like, what is that one bit of advice?
I would say do it and take the risk, because without risk, you're not going to go anywhere. Risk is everywhere, but obviously take the risk that it's not going to make you bankrupt. I always, when I do business, I have a couple other businesses which I do on the side of dentistry. I always think this way: if I spend that amount of, for example, money or time on that business and it doesn't work, what I'm going to lose? Then if I'm not going to lose everything I have, I will consider to do that business. But if I see, okay, if I do that, I'm going to lose my relationship, I'm going to lose all my say, for example, finance that I have and everything, I would not touch it, because it's not going to work. The other thing is your heart. Your heart needs to be in that, not just doing for sake of business. If you don't like it, you're not going to be successful, and you need to be prepared to work hard. And the other couple of things that I would say, you need to be honest. You need to be honest with yourself, with your customers, if our patients or whoever they are. You need to be honest. If you are not honest, my opinion is not going to work. And always remember having a balance in life. I made a mistake. I didn't have the balance, and I would not do it again. I would do a different way. I would buy my own practice 100%, because I cannot work with somebody else. And because I think that I'm doing better than others, which is sometimes may not right, but I would change the way I did, to having more time and having a better balance in a private life.
Yeah, that's incredible advice. So not one bit, but 3 bits of great advice there. So there's if you're thinking about it, do it. Weigh up the risks, but if you can make it work, it'd be great. Be honest. So I think that's a very good bit of advice in life anyway. If you're dishonest or shady, people are going to find you out. And then I love the fact that it's that, yes, hard work is important, but not at the expense of like everything in your world. So yeah, find that balance.
Because unfortunately, when you start, you want to build up a life, you forget the sideways. You forget you have a private life as well, and then you get you engage yourself 100%, and you forget everything else around, which exactly I did. I believe that I'm doing right, but when I'm looking back, I didn't, because I spent I would say 100% on the business, but I didn't spend 100% on there. It should be kind of 50-50. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, life success comes with always mistakes, and we all do mistakes, and nobody is perfect. But yes, I am here at the moment.
Saying this, yes, yeah, you're still standing.
Yes.
and you're still powering on. No, I love it. Honestly, Hussein, this has been a fantastic episode. I've really enjoyed listening to you and learning about you. So thank you for your time. If listeners are interested in contacting you or getting in touch, how can they reach you?
They can email me, and I have WhatsApp, and I have Instagram, and at Dr. H. Shaffie, and they can email me as well, Hussein Shaffie at hotmail.com. And I'm happy to help. I'm happy to give any advice if I can. And yes, it's my pleasure seeing other people are successful and doing well in their life.
Perfect, Hussein, that's fantastic. I'll add all those details to the show notes. But again, thank you very much for your time today. Really have enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike, that's having me in this program. And I really appreciate it. Anytime, please, let me know.
I'm probably going to get you on again in the future, just so you know. But until then, have a great time. And
thank you very much.